Good morning and welcome to today's webinar. We are thrilled to have you join us today as we explore the exciting potential of green hydrogen and the role of the H2Uppp program in developing hydrogen markets in emerging and developing countries. My name is Marion Fenan. I work at the AHK Morocco and I will be your moderator for today's session. We have an exciting agenda lined up. Before we begin, a few quick reminders. So please feel free to submit your questions via the Q&A session at any time, and we will address them during the Q&A session at the end of the presentation. This session will be recorded and shared with all participants afterwards. So to kick things off, I'm pleased to welcome Mrs. Katharina Felgenhauer, CEO of the German Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Morocco, AHK Morocco, who will share some opening remarks. Katharina, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Marion. And before I say the words that you just announced, I just wanted to also inform everybody that we are not only recording this session, but that some participants have activated automated AI-powered note-taking. So just for full transparency, that the content of this webinar, not only from the presenter's side, but also the discussion later, will be recorded and will also be processed in some note-taking apps. With that being said, welcome from my side. As Marion said, my name is Katharina Felgenhauer. I am the CEO of the German Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Morocco. And I'm very happy that we are having this event today and very happy to see all of you. We have a full virtual room, which is testament to the timeliness of this topic and also the difference that not only our hopefully joint activities in the green hydrogen space in Morocco can make a difference, but also that today we have a tool, an opportunity to present that will be interesting to hopefully most of you. To explain a bit of the background, why the German Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Morocco is co-hosting this webinar together with GIZ. The German Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Morocco has been in Morocco for over 25 years, so we bring a bit of traction. And we do have over 900 member companies by now, which is quite substantial. And as you would see in the attendance list, the large portion of our member companies are Moroccan companies. So we're very much embedded in the Moroccan business reality on the ground. And for the past few years, we have, of course, intensified our activities in the space of green hydrogen, hydrogen and green hydrogen in particular. And Claudia Schmidt will give you a bit of an overview of the range of our portfolio and services in that space shortly. This is so relevant, as I said, because the hydrogen space, the hydrogen market in Morocco is developing quite dynamically for both domestic consumption to spur the industrial growth that we're experiencing and witnessing, but also to prepare for hydrogen export, including to Germany and Europe. Both aspects for us as the German Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Morocco, highly relevant. And we hope to be of support to all of you, all of our members and all of our partners further to make sure that these business opportunities yield good results. That is why we're very proud to continue our collaboration with GIZ. As I said, we're co-hosting this webinar because a very important part of our work, the so-called H2 Business Link, would not be possible without the close collaboration with GIZ. And we're happy to announce that our partnership in the framework of the H2Uppp Program has just been extended. So you will hear more from us together, not only today, but also in the course of next year. And we're proud that we can use these platforms to intensify our collaboration with various partners. I want to mention in particular today Mazen, because we will hear from Mazen in the course of this webinar. And we thank you for supporting us. And we thank Nizar, who is here today to represent Mazen, for joining us today. Last but not least, as I said, this is an exciting webinar because we're not only talking about the potential of green hydrogen in and for Morocco and in and for Europe, but we will actually be looking at an opportunity, a call for proposals that is open until the beginning of February. And we will give you all the details that you need because this call for proposal targets predominantly European and German companies and their Moroccan partners. So all of you will take something from this session, and I myself am looking forward to the details. And of course, we will repeat ourselves later, but also after this webinar, feel free to reach out to any of us for further information, further clarification, so that we can accompany you fully as German Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Morocco, as GIZ, and I'm sure also Mazen is on board to give you the support you need to take full benefit of this opportunity. So thank you for joining. As I said, we have a full room and we keep having more participants join us. As Marion said, we will start with some with the information that we want to share with you about the hydrogen potential and of course the call for proposals, and then have a Q&A session after. You see there's a Q&A section that is not the same as the chat, so use the Q&A section so that we can properly address your questions in the course of this webinar. Do enjoy and feel free to reach out anytime.
Thank you very much, Katharina, for those welcoming words. Now we will turn to our partner at GIZ, the German International Cooperation Agency, to introduce the H2Up program and explain how it supports green hydrogen and its derivatives in emerging and developing markets. So Hassan Filali Ansari, the floor is yours, and I will stop sharing my screen so that you can share yours.
Thank you, Mario. Thanks, Mario. Thanks, Katharina. Thanks to the AHK for the great work and the great collaboration. We're super happy that we are entering a new phase of collaboration, a new contract agreement. And we're looking forward to working. Let me please share my screen with you.
We will let you know as soon as we see your screen.
Okay, please. And what's good is we tried it a couple of minutes ago and it worked. So it should be working.
Indeed, it will.
Still not working?
No, still not working. In case it's not working, I can share your presentation, or I don't know if
yes,
Matthias
please.
has it.
Matthias,
you want to do it, or you want me to share the presentation?
No, please do. I think it is easier if it's one person's responsibility.
All right, so let me see. If I'm not wrong, this should be the presentation.
I think it's working. I think it's working.
Yeah, I'm just trying to put full screen. I just have the way it's shown. All right.
Can you see it now?
We can see the presentation now. It's in presentation mode.
Perfect.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so let me start by just saying that H2Up is a global program, a global project by GIZ standards. It is actually commissioned by the German Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Climate Action, the BMWK. And we are now in the second phase of H2Up. The first phase was from December 2022 until April 2024, and now the second phase is from May 2024 until December 2026. Now, the global project has a value of 30 million euros, and it is from a geographical standpoint, it is located in South America, Northern and Southern Africa, and South and Southeast Asia. And obviously, as we said, our implementing partner is the AHK, the German Chamber of Commerce. Now, H2Up, the idea behind H2Up is that it seeks collaboration with private companies to jointly implement projects along the green hydrogen value chain. Now, the idea is that innovative projects with the private sector will kick off green hydrogen markets. But obviously, there are high risks, transaction costs, which make things more difficult for companies to enter the market. And there comes the role of H2Up, which supports green hydrogen projects of any size in the early stage of development. This is important. So there's cooperation with the private sector to decrease project development costs for German, European companies, but also for Moroccan companies, because although we have a focus on German, European companies, we also include Moroccan companies which can participate as part of a consortium, for instance. Now, with the support of the PPP instrument, public-private partnership, in partner countries, there is a project pipeline that has been built and that has completed the necessary first stage of pre-feasibility. Okay, now, as I said, there are the PPP in H2Up. The 3P stand for project identification, project development, and project support and trade. Now here you have an idea on the project cycle. We start obviously with the project identification. This is the step where companies are considered entering the market, green H2 market. Then we move to the project development, whereby companies clarify specific questions of the project development through PPP cooperation. And obviously that leads us to project support and trade, where companies complete pre-feasibility studies and or companies and partners decide to invest in further project development. In the case of Morocco, we start with the notion of project scouting. We do that as GIZ, and our colleagues from AHK help us a lot do that as well. Now, as Katarina mentioned, we have a new grant agreement that was signed recently, very recently. And AHK helps us, notably through the H2 Business link. That's how they do project scouting. It is basically a project scouting platform, and it allows for B2B, B2G events, working groups, exchange with the green hydrogen cluster, etc. We have also networking and outreach, and this is a very important aspect as well. This is where we use social media and podcasts and videos and newsletters to reach out and actually deliver information. Now, when it comes to yes, please, thank you. Project development, conducting an open PPP ideas competition. This is actually the call for proposals that is still ongoing until February 1st. So any of you that would be interested, please apply. We are looking forward to helping you and going with you through the process. There are basically cooperation agreements within the framework of PPP projects and their implementation. And the idea for us is to help. I don't know why it's moving backward. I'm sorry. Can we go back, please? One step, please. Thank you very much. Now, the idea is to support the implementation of PPPs in Morocco whenever a proposal is selected by BMWK. And finally, we have the project support and trade, where we can run the risk and studies, offtake studies, investment guides, and investment studies as well. Thank you. We can move to the next slide, please. Now, public-private partnerships as a key instrument of H2Up. Now, I know that my colleague Matthias is supposed to be specific on this section, but I'll be brief. These are just the basics. Next slide, please. Thank you. So when it comes to public-private partnership, what's really important to keep in mind here is that GIZ can only participate up to 50% of the total costs of a project. That's the maximum. Companies or consortia have to actually participate at least 50% of the total costs. And here you have an idea. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. The duration of projects lasts up to 3 years. You have the public contribution, which means H2Up that can go from 100,000 to 2 million euros, either in cash or kind. And the offer, as I said before, is aimed at companies based in Germany and the EU. But we insist on the fact that Moroccan companies can also participate and be included as long as they're partners in consortia. And Matthias will talk more about this aspect. Next slide, please. Now, the idea of this webinar actually is to remind you that there is an ongoing call for proposals, and it is open until February 1st, 2024. So there's not much time left, unfortunately, but we really look forward to having as many proposals as possible. We welcome as many proposals as possible, and we are here to help you go through this process. So please do not hesitate reaching out. You will have access to our contact details. Please do not hesitate. So the idea is for you to go, these are the contact details. That's H2Up at giz.de. That's the global address. And for GIZ Morocco specifically, you can reach out to me at hassan.filali-ansari@giz.de, or to my colleague Matthias, who will be presenting later, at rilling.matthias@giz.de. And if we can go back to the previous slide, please, to close. Yeah, this is a very important link that you may use to check the eligibility criteria and so on and so forth. So it is a matchmaker. We can leave the link for you in the chat box, conversation box, and you have a snapshot actually of what you will be able to see there, and you will have all the documentation that you need, and you will be able to download all the necessary forms that you will need to fill up. So once everything is ready, you can send your application to h2up@giz.de, or you can basically start by clicking apply now, the apply now button. And that's pretty much it for me. And thanks for your attention. And the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Hassan, for the detailed introduction to the H2Up program. So next, I will hand over to Mrs. Claudia Schmidt, the Deputy CEO of AHK Morocco, who will be presenting the H2 business link at the AHK Morocco. So I will also, in the meantime, share my screen again.
Thank you, Marion, already for the introduction. And as Katharina already said, introduced generally the AHK Morocco, I will not spend too much time on this, only to say that we have a huge network, not only our 900 members, but also with our social media network. We are very broad in Germany represented, and also here in Morocco. Next slide, please, Marion. The H2 Business Link Desk has been established last year to have a link between the GIZ H2Up project and our mostly our members, but also our complete network to promote and to promote the H2Up project, to promote green hydrogen in Morocco. We have at the AHK Morocco, we have different sorts of modules where we support companies. We have different sorts of programs which also companies and supports Moroccan and German companies. We have the BMWK Export Initiative Energy, which is a program which is already more than 20 years, which are subsidized by the BMWK, the German ministry, to support not only renewable energy, but also hydrogen projects, where German delegations reach out to come here to Morocco, or also Moroccan delegations going to Germany with different sorts of subjects. This Export Initiative Energy is also a partner to formate consortia where German companies or European companies can form a consortia based on a project which they want to establish here in Morocco not only on the green hydrogen, but also on other subjects in renewable energy. We, as the German Chamber, deliver also market studies, partner researches based on your profiles, based on your needs. We reach out to our network and try to make the most and the best matches during this time, and we try always to offer the local economic benefits, which also generate jobs, and have this included into our work as we are supporting you to establish yourself here in Morocco. Next slide, please, Marion. In the German-Moroccan cooperation, we have different sorts of partnerships. The governmental cooperation is between the BMWK or the KfW to also help to make contacts for financing projects, but also, of course, with the GIZ to see that, for example, now with the proposal, which is open till the 1st of February, we can also help you with these tools to find the right partners and to to establish your project, but also on the research partnership, we have a very close relationship to Iresen, who also is the organizer of the yearly Power to X Summit in Marrakesh for the last 4 years. And we have been in all these Power to X Summits. The AHK always had a part in it as a partnership on the overall part to help bringing it out to reach out to our network that this Power to X Summit is taking place, but also to have German delegations participating in this Power to X Summit, to establish contacts, to create partnerships, and also try to accommodate, to reach out to find the right partners for the different projects which German companies are trying to identify here in Morocco. Next slide, please, Marianne. These are just some pictures from this year's Power to X Summit, where we had a site event with more than 120 participants. We had quite a few speakers, important speakers. We signed an MOU with the Women in Green Hydrogen to support not only them, but us in the endeavor to introduce German companies to the green hydrogen market here in Morocco, to establish their projects and reach out for partners and to help them to get this in Morocco done. So in regards of that, I think I will hand over back to Marion. And yeah, if you want to reach out, I think we will later share all the presentations anyway with the participants. You can reach out to me by email or by phone, and for any questions or for any help on finding the right partners here in Morocco.
Thank you very much, Claudia, for that insightful presentation on the H2 Business Link. So next, I will hand over to Mr. Nizar Mazini from the Moroccan Agency for Sustainable Energy, MASEN. We are very happy to have you with us today, Mr. Mazini. So yeah, I think you have some issues with the camera, but we will be able to hear you at least, right?
Yes. Do you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm happy to be here as well. So just a quick presentation. I'm Nizar Mazini, Strategy and Market Intelligence Officer in MASEN, also member of the Green Hydrogen Task Force in MASEN as Strategy and PMO. So just to give you a brief presentation of MASEN, as many people know, we are the Moroccan Agency for Sustainable Energy, in charge of developing the renewable energy projects here in Morocco. So as of today, we have around 4.5 gigawatt of renewable energy capacity already installed, with an additional pipeline of 4 gigawatt to be installed before 2028. And the objective to reach at least 52% of renewable energy capacity in our energy mix before 2030. And in addition to that, we have been designated as the nodal point in Morocco for the green hydrogen offer in Morocco. And to give you a quick recap of the green hydrogen offer. So between 2020 and 2024, 2020 being the launch of the national roadmap for green hydrogen, and 2024 the launch of the circular for the green hydrogen offer. Well, we took our time to understand the dynamics of the market and the evolution of this very nascent industry, in order to develop a framework of investment for integrated green hydrogen projects. And the keyword here is integrated projects. So the market offer is for projects including the whole value chain of green hydrogen, so upstream, downstream, and midstream and downstream. To summarize the green hydrogen offer, we could summarize it around 3 key points. The fact that it's holistic, transparent, and pragmatic. Holistic in the sense that it covers all the important aspects for green hydrogen development. So through land allocation. So the Moroccan government has put at disposal for investors 1 million hectares of public land for the development of green hydrogen projects. These land will be unlocked through phases. The first phase being 300,000 hectares, which will in turn be divided between the investors in plots between 10,000 and 30,000 hectares. It covers also important aspects such as infrastructures, mainly ports, storage, transport, etc. These infrastructures will be either developed by the Moroccan state or or either through a public and private scheme with the private sectors. It's also transparent in the sense that it involves all the national institutions. So Mazen, as the nodal point, acts as the interface between the private investors and the national stakeholders, and it also proposes a clear and transparent process. So each and every investor will know where he will stand in the process. And there will be mainly 4 main, let's say, phases in the project. Right now we are in the evaluation projects, phase. So we have evaluated more than 40 projects. We will soon start the second phase of the process with the shortlisting of projects who will have a preliminary access to the land, which will follow after that land allocation agreement, which will allow investors to further the studies. And in the end, we hope to reach FIDs for these projects, and we will closely follow these projects to ensure the optimal development of these projects. Another key point regarding this green offer is its pragmatic approach. So we chose to propose a framework which will be very open. It's a very open process with open channel of communication between the national stakeholders, Mazen, and the private investors, and it will be it will follow very step-by-step approach in order to adapt to the evolution of the market in terms of technologies and also in terms of end products. The idea behind the main idea behind this offer is really the co-creation of value. So we hope that one part will enable us to create ecosystems around these projects and ensure that the green molecules that will come out of Morocco will be one of the most competitive ones, and also to co-create value between the Moroccan state and the private investors. So commercial and economical value for the investors, and also social economical value for the Moroccan states. That briefly summarizes the Moroccan offer. For any additional questions, please feel free to reach to me through the Q&A sections, or you could also communicate with us through the address contact of maroc@mazen.ma, which is available in our website. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mazini, for the presentation on the Moroccan green hydrogen offer. So now let's turn our focus to the public-private partnership call for projects. So the GIZ will share more details about how companies can apply and the key benefits of getting involved in PPPs for green hydrogen projects. So to lead us through this, I will hand over to Matthias Rilling from the GIZ.
Many thanks, Marion. I will first try to share my screen. And we will hope for the best.
Yeah, and it works. Perfect.
That sounds good.
Yeah, if you just put it on full screen. Yes, perfect.
That's okay right now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you again, Marion. Thank you to all the presenters, be they from Mazen, from the AHK, or from GIZ. My name is Matthias Rilling, and I am H2 coordinator at GIZ Morocco. And since today, I am also in charge of the implementation of the GIZ side of the H2Uppp program. And I would also like to thank the GIZ team for also introducing me to that really interesting project. Well, my colleague Hassan has already given you a few nuggets about the H2Uppp program, and I will now try to go a bit more into detail regarding the PPP call that you can participate to until February 1st of next year. I think that has already been shown by Hassan, but as you can see, we have 3 geographical zones, South America, Africa, and Asia. And we are GIZ really convinced that Morocco, with its obvious advantages for renewable energy, given to its proximity with the European continent, its political stability and its clear governance, also in the H2 field, thanks to the publication of the Offer Maroc and the clear role of Mazen, can be a leading H2 country, and that's why we are also really hoping that this program can have a substantial project output on the ground here in Morocco, despite the fact that the timeline is quite short till February, but I will come to this later on. So who is that program aimed for or at? It targets German and European companies in Morocco, and it also seeks Moroccan companies who can join as consortial partners. And I would like to be very clear here. It is indeed addressed first or aimed first of all to European companies, but I think that we know how the setup of European companies work here in Morocco. Basically, they all have Moroccan partners. So if you, as a Moroccan company, in the framework of the Offer Maroc, you're aiming for, or beyond the framework of the Offer Maroc, if you're aiming for a H2 project, and you have a European partner in your site, or if it's already done in the state that you are going to work with a European partner, it's really perfectly possible to talk about this with your European partner in order to, as a project consortium, reach an application to the H2Uppp PPP call. And of course, who says PPP says different role. So GIZ, because it's a partnership, so GIZ's role will be to contribute technical expertise, structure, networking, and also, most importantly, some funding, which Hassan has already alluded to in his own presentation before. And of course, companies aim to create some added value, and that's the goal of the hydrogen sector in Morocco. The public-private partnership, where GIZ will play the role of the public partner, will seek a non-profit purpose. And in that sense, that's where all the development goals that are owned by GIZ, but if I dare say, which you can also find in the framework of the AHK Morocco, will be located. So, and I like to think that we have here a clear alignment between the different programs. So, who can in detail apply? Of course, we need to make sure that the company is real and is not only something existing on paper. So that's why we have some criteria: 3 years of existence, minimal turnover of 800,000 euro, 8 employees, and to demonstrate enough creditworthiness and liquidity to cover the company's own contribution to the PPP. And of course, a company must be able to present projects with an impact projected to last beyond the grant period. Because, of course, we want this project to have a lasting impact. It is the PPP is designed in order to help the company to make one of the first steps, but we very much want to be sure that the company is going to be able to go beyond the first steps and have a project that will have a lasting impact in Morocco. And of course, that probably maybe is the most important line on this slide. The project must be in line with Morocco's long-term energy transition goals and must be able to find common ground with Moroccan sectoral governance for H2. When we go a bit more into detail, you have basically 2 possibilities for the partnerships. You can either have a cooperation agreement or a service agreement. The cooperation agreement being perhaps a bit more ambitious in the sense that the GIZ as a public partner and one or several companies as a private partners do agree on measures that can be quantified, whether they are going to be realized or not, and finance and implement themselves. So there, the public contribution, meaning GIZ contribution, can go up to 2 million euro. And when it's a service agreement and GIZ contribute to measures that are going to be implemented by the company directly, meaning that GIZ will not be implementing directly, then GIZ contribution can reach 200,000 euros. So it's much less, of course, but it reflects the fact that GIZ see a cooperation agreement as perhaps a bigger commitment on the private side, and therefore the difference in the threshold. And again, what Hassan has already shown you, basically the companies or the consortia must contribute to at least 50% of the project cost, but can do more, of course, and GIZ can go up to 50%, but is limited by the ceilings of the different frameworks, either service framework or cooperation framework. So basically, our aim is really to have a win-win solution, because GIZ brings something on the table and the company or the companies bring other resources, other knowledge, and other capital and other resources on the table. And as I mentioned, you have this GIZ logic that we need to be able to achieve an improvement in development goals. But as I said, it is basically what you can always find in the framework of the AHK Morocco. So I think that here we have a very good alignment between both thinkings. And for the business partners, obviously, the project must help him of them to bring the project over the line and to see the benefits in a business sense of way to increase in the longer term. And it is basically possible to locate a PPP along the complete H2P value chain. And you can do trainings, capacity building, program or studies. And if there is another idea, of course, we can discuss it. What the program cannot do is a contribution to the CapEx side of a project. And anyway, it would be a too small contribution to really be useful, given the size of the investments that we are talking about. As was mentioned, and I think it has been posted in the chat, you can go to the matchmaker and you also have all the different files that you need to apply to the project, which are on this precise webpage, and you will also be able there to see some project application of the paths that have been successful. And but I will show you the link in detail afterwards. And I would also like to give you a very rough timeline because, as has been mentioned, time is short. So the first application has to be sent to GIZ by February 1st of next year, but it doesn't have to cover in detail everything. After that, you will have a pre-selection of the different projects through the German ministry, meaning here the BMWK, who is on the German ministerial side the owner of the H2Uppp program, and then GIZ can help beef up the proposals that are going to be pre-selected. And afterwards, the project, meaning the GIZ participation, could probably approximately start in June next year and go on till the end of October in 26. So meaning that we would have roughly about 1 year and 3 months to complete the GIZ side of the project. But to be clear, that does not mean that on the company side, the project has to be finished by then. The company can still go on afterwards. And that's really what we're aiming for, to be honest, with our GIZ financing and cooperation. So I will just show you now, not my presentation, but the link, the matchmaker. When you go down to the end of the table, you will indeed find the PPP application form and some example of projects that have been launched in the first phase of H2Uppp. And if you have a look at the PPP application form, if I'm counting correctly, you have 8 pages, which is, if I'm being totally honest, for a GIZ process, which is really small. So we've really been adjusting to the needs of the industry because it has to be an effective program for the business sector. And I mean, I can say it because I have absolutely had no part in drafting that application form, but it's quite clear. And as has been mentioned by Hassan before, if there is any need for clarification, Hassan and I, plus the team in Germany, are also available for bilateral calls in order to reply to any question that would potentially arise after the Q&A that we're going to have in order to make sure that you can bring your application in time and in the proper and right manner before February 1st next year. I will now stop sharing my screen and hand the mic back to Marion.
Thank you very much, Matthias, for the comprehensive overview of the PPP call for projects. So we now move on to our Q&A session. So if you have any questions, please feel free to submit them via the Q&A function, and we will address them one by one. And we will start with the first question that has been asked at the beginning, which is if the call for proposal also include participants in East Africa. I don't think that it was a focus country, but maybe GIZ can answer this question.
Yes, happy to take that question. As mentioned, the company that has to provide the application for the call needs to be registered in the European Union, meaning to have a subsidiary in the European Union. And of course, the work on the ground here has to be in Morocco. But if you had a precise constellation where you had a company with a subsidiary in the European Union that would have both activities in East Africa and in Morocco, and who would aim to do a PPP here in Morocco, it would be perfectly in the framework of the PPP call for this company to apply.
All right. Thank you very much, Matthias. I don't know if on this question, Veit wants to add something. I will just allow, yes, you can speak.
Okay, freely. Yeah, maybe just in addition to what Matthias just rightly said, it's possible also to apply project proposals which are specifically for another country in that country, like in East Africa, which are not part of the current focal countries of H2Up. It's possible to apply, but of course we don't have an H2Up team located there. So it's really important that the company has some local anchoring and local commitment in the country. But it's generally possible to apply. So we're happy for all the applications, and then it can be checked if it's possible to implement or not.
Thank you very much, Veit, for this complimentary answer. So we move on to the next question, where someone wants to clarify whether this call for proposal is limited to green hydrogen technology only, or if a hybrid concept, meaning green hydrogen plus solar, photovoltaic, wind battery, would also be acceptable. This would imply that consultancy firms specialized in solar, wind, and battery solutions could collaborate with green hydrogen, with hydrogen development companies.
Happy to take this question again, if I may. Well, we are covering all the value chain, and Veit and Hassan, feel free to jump in. But my understanding is that battery and solar generation would be part of this value chain, because indeed we would need power generation in order to go to the green hydrogen. But indeed, if the clearer the link to H2 project is going to be, the more powerful the application is going to be.
All right, thank you very much, Matthias. Does the project involve academic partners, so meaning universities, research centers? Is this possible?
As long as we have a project consortium that reads an application that is going to send an application to GIZ for the PPP call, if there is an academic part in the project consortium, it is fine by us. It is really fine by us. The one issue is that the application has to come from a private entity with a subsidiary in the European Union. But the composition of the project consortium on the ground is totally up to the consortium.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and what are the established criteria for Moroccan companies who might want to join as part of a consortium?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question, please?
The criteria for Moroccan companies who might want to join and to be part of this consortium.
Well, we are coming back again to that prerequisite that the call has to be answered by a company with a subsidiary in the European Union, and that can of course potentially be a Moroccan company, or that can be a Moroccan company in a project consortium with a company that is going to have a subsidiary in the European Union. I would say that both possibilities are entirely valid. Of course, it depends on the project consortium, but what we see on the ground is that alliances between European and Moroccan companies are really common. And our first expectation would be that it could potentially be the same for the PPP application. But if a Moroccan company wants to go on it alone without a European partner, it only needs a registration in the European Union. That's all it's been asked for. But I think Veit will be able to give more insights on that.
Yeah, maybe also just in addition, if there is an idea to form a consortia with a European or German company together with a Moroccan local company, then the criteria, criteria that Matthias presented, account for the one leading the submission. So that would mean that these criteria account for the German European company or European company that applies, and not particular for the local Moroccan company. But in a consortia, it must be clear then who is responsible for what when it comes to the implementation of working tasks. So in that sense, the criteria to the Moroccan company would then be that must be clear what the involvement would be in this consortium. But these KO criteria that Matthias showed before always apply to the one in the lead submitting, to the party submitting the proposal.
Thank you very much, Veit and Matthias. Another question. So if a company has already costs that are made from February till June, but the start of the activities of costs might wait until June 2025, is it still eligible? So the start of the activities and costs might wait until June 2025 in case of being approved. But what about the prior costs that are made from February till June, if I understand the question correctly?
Veit, is it okay if you take that question?
I'm not sure if the question is clear, actually.
Yeah, could we clarify this question? Maybe I also didn't fully comprehend it.
Yeah.
Or maybe the person can also feel free to explain it maybe a bit, or elaborate a bit further.
Mm-hmm. So please, for the person that asked the question, just maybe explain it a little bit better in the Q&R, and we will address it afterwards. We move to the next question. Does the call for proposal also include 1,000 provinces of Morocco? Question for GIZ.
Yes, happy to take that question. It's a project focused on the private sector. So we are not aware of specific restriction. So if you have a project that you deem worthy of an application for the PPP call, by all means, please reach an application.
Thank you, Matthias. What about startup companies that have not reached a revenue of 800,000 euros?
I'm not entirely sure whether we have some leeway with in this case. So if you could take that question, that would be fantastic.
Yes, it's indeed again the same situation. So if there's a consortia with a company in the lead of the submission that fulfills this criteria, then also a startup which doesn't fulfill the criteria can be part of the consortia, right? It's always about the lead party submitting the proposal. So in a consortia, that would be possible.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have now the specification on the question that we had before. So if costs that might be occurred with from the submission, so from February until June, if it might be eligible, or all costs and tasks must be start from June 2025 onwards.
Yes, yes, the costs can be accounted from the start of the project, the moment the contract is signed. So in that case, if the project starts in June, that would be starting in June.
All right, great. Thank you very much. I'm checking if we have some other question in the Q&R box, but I think that we answered the questions. So yeah, in any case, if you have other questions, feel free to contact us. You have all our contact details. So we are coming to the end of the webinar. Thank you to everyone for your insightful questions and participation today. A big thank you to the GIZ and to Mazen also. Before we close, again, a reminder everyone about the H2Uppp program call for proposals. So the deadline is on February 1st, 2025. So feel free to reach out to us, and yeah, we look forward to continued collaboration in the green hydrogen sector. Have a great day.
Thank you, Mario, for your help. Thanks, that was great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Have a great day.
Thank you very much to all of you. It was a pleasure.